And it's funny because we think alike musically. We definitely share the same opinions, same bands, you know, favorite bands, that sort of thing, same musical opinions. So we communicate on a whole different level than I do with any other musician, it seems. But when we worked on the Spastik ink material, it was very, it's like the way we work. It's, you know, you have to really get into it because everything is done note for note, and it's just a long process of trying to put the songs together. And so both Spastik ink records, I mean, I spent months and months just working out the arrangements, working on the parts, going over it a bunch of times to make sure that I could properly execute the parts and make sure that I could play it correctly. I just decided, you know what, I'm going to try a bunch of heads on the toms and see what sounds the best. And I put the G2s on the toms at that time, clear G2s, and they just seemed to have the most tone out of all the drum heads. And I was like, you know, these are nice. I've never used them before. This was, you know, this goes back 10, 15 years. And I was really surprised, just the tone and the attack of the Evans heads. They came out with the EC2s, and I really love the EC2 heads. The tone, the attack of those heads. The new hybrid gray, just started using it, so it's still new to me. And I really love that head for the snare. It's just a gunshot on the snare, and especially when we're playing big stadiums like what we're doing today. And so I'm using the hybrid gray, and I'm using the AZ300 on the bottom of the snare, and then I'm using, as I said, the EC2s on the toms. On the bottoms, I'm using the resonance, or the G1s. Bass drum, I use either the EMAD or the EMAD 2. If I'm in the studio, I like the EMAD just because I want to have a little bit more tone out of the drum. And then when I'm playing live, I like the EMAD 2 because the double glide gives me a little more punch, especially for the live shows. So I am right-handed, but for some reason I do those two things left-handed. But when I was playing with Riot years ago, I was coming up with some really complex drum stuff, and I wanted to work out this crazy part with my right hand and then with my left hand on staying on the hi-hat. I worked out the one part, and I remember thinking to myself, you know, I've always wanted to have the freedom to be able to play with my right hand on the toms, set up my right on the left, the hi-hat over here, bring it down a little bit, and that way I'd have the freedom to kind of express myself on the kip without any of the crossover. So I just started to work on everything like that. I pulled the right cymbal away from the right side, and I just started to practice every day. It took me 10, maybe total of 15 years to totally master the process. And so now I exclusively play open-handed, but it took me a long time before everything felt natural. I think the most important thing is to take drum lessons and find a teacher, experienced teacher. With that said, I didn't do that. But what I did was instead of finding teachers, really, I ended up just buying drum books and learning how to read music, and I just took things out of different books that I liked. But I think finding a great drum teacher is really the way to go about it, and finding a couple of, or 2 or 3 drum instructors, I think always helps, because you get different points of view and look for information and look for good in all drummers of all genres and try and learn from it. I would like to invite everybody to come to my website, bobbyjarzombek.com, or my MySpace, myspace.com/bobbyjarzombek, my Facebook, and also to my new YouTube channel. I've got some instructional things there, some live footage, and some things that I talk about behind the scenes of drumming. And I hope to see you on the road, or in the studio, or somewhere, and keep drumming. Be good.